Special United Nations Ambassador Gerard Nsengiyumva. Here is Section 3, Managing Inventory. In this section, I learned to design and implement a basic stock control system for receiving, storing, issuing goods, as well as examine the roles and responsibilities of staff managing stocks. Receiving process. Step 1. Ask the originator or other program staff to verify that the quantity and quality completes and complies with the contract specifications, samples, or photographs. Step 2. Inspect the goods and reject those that are incorrect or damaged. Step 3. Check packages or boxes to ensure they are unopened or unaltered. Extra inspection may be required if issues are discovered. Step 4. Prepare a goods received note, GRN. Make sure it is signed by the supplier and originator or program staff to verify inspection and acceptance by the goods. of the goods. Step 5. Fill out the details of the goods in the relevant stock cards, a daily warehouse register or similar document. Inventory documents. 1. Goods received note, GRN. GRN confirms receipt of the materials purchased by your organization. Records any discrepancies in the quantity or quality of items received from what was ordered. Indicates that goods have been inspected and verified as matching the requirements in the supplier's contract or purchase order. It is signed by supplier, logistics staff receiving the goods, originator, or member of your program or staff. Goods received note references any supplier documentation and the purchase request form against which the goods were received should have matching references. GRN serves as a supporting document for payment of the supplier. 2. Stock card. Stock card records the movement and balance, current and historical of individual items in the warehouse and checks inventory. The stock card must be kept fully up to date with each entry signed. It should contain item description, donor, bin location, quantity in stock, warehouse location, program, unit of measure, details and justification of receipts and issues. It is needed for each item covered by a grant or funded program. Stock card is important. Ensure warehouse staff understand the unit of measure for each item. Goods should be received and entered in the same unit of measure that it will be dispatched. For instance, confusion can arise if plastic sheet is received at rolls, dispatched as square meters, and then recorded as running meters. 3. Warehouse Daily Register. The warehouse daily register keeps a daily record of all warehouse activities. It is maintained by the warehouse manager or the responsible logistics staff. It is an accountable document and should follow these guidelines. Do not erase entries. Make a single line strike through, then highlight and initial if a mistake is made. Keep in a bound journal with the numbered pages. Do not remove pages. Keep for all sizes of warehouses. Entries should include type and quantity of items received or issued, reference store shipment documentation, store releases, way bills, details of vehicles transporting goods, any incidents at the warehouse, any inspection, any visitors. Damaged or incorrect goods. Document the issue. Do not move goods until the problem is fully documented or delivery documentation, GRN, as it may result in a dispute or GRN, as it may result in a dispute about where or when the damage occurred. Inspect items and packaging with the delivery and have the person sign GRN. Record details of any damage, shortage, shortages or incorrect items on the GRN or delivery note and in the daily warehouse register in case of a dispute or claim. Nature of damage, probable cause of the damage, quantity lost. Then have the staff sign and date the judgment to verify acceptance of delivery. Report the issue to the supplier. Notify the supplier immediately to obtain instructions for the return or disposal of the goods. Report the issue internally. Notify the appropriate manager to arrange for return, replacement, or credit. Return proof. Return all damaged cartons and packing materials. Warehouse, access, cleaning, maintenance. Control access to reduce risks of fire, theft, and flood. Only staff with a specific purpose should be allowed to enter. Record visitors in the warehouse register, including their purpose during and activities conducted. Do not allow food or drinks in the warehouse to prevent contamination or insect and rodent infestation. Keep the warehouse clean at all times and have sufficient brushes, dustpans, garbage containers, cleaning supplies. Remove garbage on a daily basis. Garbage disposal pit. Recycle when possible. Provide tools and equipment for moving, handling, and opening stock. Ensure spare bags and boxes are available. For repacking and replacing damaged packaging. Managing stock. Separate goods. Store different items or items for different projects or donors in separate bins or areas to eliminate confusion. Store in transit items in separate location with separate documentation. Open a separate transit file. Use a warehouse bin card. Mark the location for each type of goods with a warehouse bin card indicating description, project donor, quantity of the goods in stock. Do not record receipts of and dispatches of goods only. Record the change in total quantity of stock. Shelf properly. Place items proper on shelves. Lower shelves hold the heaviest items. Higher shelves hold the lighter items. Check the safety. Check the condition of all stocks. Shelves routinely. Store properly. Store goods so they are protected from possible damage or degradation. Accessible for inspection and movement. Countable and checked with ease. Protect stock. Place newer goods behind all the goods so they are used first. Prevents all the packaging from deteriorating and collapsing. Monitoring stock levels. The minimum stock level for different goods will depend upon importance of goods in meeting beneficiaries' needs, life-saving medicines versus cooking utensils, lead times for procuring new supplies, save volume of stock based on available storage space, general security situation. Verifying stock levels. When should it be done? Perform an inventory check once a month on a random basis at the end of a project, at the end of the financial year. If concerns or weaknesses are raised around inaccurate, incomplete documentation, theft, or negligence, who should perform it? An inventory check should be performed by senior staff, logistic manager, and other participating staff must document, sign off, and approve. Non-logistic staff or staff from an outside agency should be involved periodically. What should it verify? An inventory check should be performed by what should it verify? An inventory check should verify records are complete and up to date, stated quantities for goods received, dispatched, and sold are correlate, actual quantities correspond with documented quantities Bin cards are present, fully completed, and up to date. Goods are in proper condition and correctly stored. An inventory check has two steps. 1. Checking physical stock against documented records. 2. Verifying that stock movement records support the recorded balance. What else is important? Repacking stock into smaller quantities for issue can lead to differences in the unit of measure used when receiving the items compared to when they will be issued. Goods should be received and entered into warehouse books using the same unit of measure in which it will be dispatched. Physical checks and discrepancies. 1. Performing a physical check. Generate a full inventory list without the current stock levels based on the warehouse documentation. List will be used to conduct a physical stock count. Senior staff members should undertake separate random counts to check the accuracy of the physical checks. Compare the physical count with the balances shown in the warehouse documents, stock cards, the warehouse register. Select several control items to check. High and low turnover items and small attractive items tools. Records should reconcile quantity dispatched, quantity in stock is equal to total quantity received. Quantity dispatched plus quantity in stock is equal to total quantity received. Physical stock greater than documented stock. This is typically a result of poor warehouse procedures and documentation. When occurs, make physical recount of the items. Check back through documentation for errors or omissions. When making corrections, strike through line original details with a single line but still visible. Write correct details next to the strike through. Logistics manager initials correction and adds explanatory notes if necessary. 3. Physical stock less than documented stock. This may be a result of errors or theft or fraud. When this occurs, make a physical recount of the items. Check back through documentation for errors or omissions. Check receipt and dispatch documentation for mathematical errors or omissions, going as far back as is necessary. Check data details in the receipt and dispatch documentation and the stock cards matches the details in the warehouse register. Check that items have not loaned or stored elsewhere in the warehouse. Question the logistics warehouse staff. Check the warehouse for signs of unauthorized entry. If discrepancy is the result of staff theft or the senior staff member must take disciplinary action. Damage, loss, disposal of stock. Guidelines for managing the damage, loss, disposal of stock. Record damaged, stolen, or missing items in the stock card, warehouse register, and asset list, equipment or furniture. Staff member in possession of the item when it was damaged, stolen, or lost completes a loss or damage report, then ensure submit the report to management. Management signs and keeps report on file. Priority in deciding the method for disposal of inventory is based on direction, requirements of the donor, if a requirement of the funding terms, transfer of ownership to other projects being undertaken by the organization, donation to other NGOs, donation to civil or local authorities, sale, destruction where deemed a health, safety, or security risk. Note: any variation to donor requirements must be first obtained in writing. Stock request form before releasing goods from warehouse. The form contains material description, stock number, quantity, program or donor, grant reference numbers, name of requester, date and press or personally receive it. Managers may only approve request forms for goods belonging to their own programs. The warehouse manager should have a list of staff able to authorize stock request forms. The warehouse manager or other logistics staff cannot authorize a stock request. Steps in issuing stock. Step 1. The warehouse staff verifies that items in stock by checking the stock cards. Step 2. The requester completes a stock request form. The relevant program manager reviews and approves the request. Step 3. The warehouse staff receives the stock request and enters the sequential number on the request. Step 4. The warehouse staff packs and issues the goods. If a backing list is used, it should be completed at this stage. Step 5. The requester receives checks and signs for the goods. Any items that are damaged or are not issued should be highlighted on the documentation. Step 6. The warehouse staff updates the stock cards with date, quantity of goods that have been issued, name of the receiver. Step 7. The warehouse staff records details in the warehouse register and updates the stock report. Step 8. The warehouse staff files the stock request form. Then, dispatching goods. 1. Correction. If goods will be collected from the storage facility, the individual receiving the goods should sign the stock request form and return a copy. Once the goods are released, the person receiving the items and the relevant program staff are responsible for tracking them. 2. Delivery. If the goods will be delivered to another location, the logistics department must prepare and ship the goods on a way bill. The person receiving the goods should sign the way bill on receipt and return a copy for reference. Cross-border delivery. Check your requirements before arranging to dispatch the goods. 3. Operational goods or items. The warehouse may store goods or equipment withdrawn or returned by programs on a daily basis, hand tools. This will not result in a real decrease in stock levels. The warehouse manager can open a simple sign in or out loan sheet for each item. The sheet will be held by the warehouse manager. The relevant bin cards will indicate the total quantity stocked and the quantity available for loan returns. 4. The warehouse manager will generate a goods received note and cross-reference it to the stock request form and waybill detailing the exact quantity and condition of the goods returned. The words returned goods should be written on the goods received note. Returns should be stored separately and may be used in alternative locations or for other projects. Consumables. Monitor and restock consumables when stock levels fall below the optimum level. Notify the relevant department when ordering is necessary. Examples of consumables: vehicle parts, motor oil, office and kitchen supplies. Tips for running a warehouse more effectively. Plan ahead to determine what goods, staff, transport will be needed next week, month, or year. Plan the layout. Stock goods safely. Record stock movements on the correct forms. Conduct a physical inventory regularly. Record damage or losses on the correct forms. File documentation immediately. Rotate goods. First in, first out. FIFO. Keep goods secure. Keep store or warehouse clean daily, weekly, monthly routines. Thanks for listening.